Hello everyone, welcome to this video about simplifying difficult chord progressions. And I already made one video in which I looked at complete standards. I can't think of the name right now. But in this video I don't want to look at one particular standard. I want to look at different progressions or fragments from different standards. To show you my process and so that you could apply it yourself to other standards that you're struggling with. And let's get back to some core rules, right? I actually have two rules. So for me, there's only three chords. There's a minor chord, there's a major chord, and there's a dominant chord. So I would convert every other chord that I see to one of those three. And the second rule is every chord can be a temporary one chord, a temporary tonic, which means that I can look at all other chords in relationship to that one chord for a short time. Well, you'll see what I mean. So the first progression I've chosen is the one that you just heard. It's called a Christophe progression or Christophe changes, and I think the name derives from an old jazz standard called Mr. Christopher Columbus. So Christophe changes, and that song features that progression a lot. And you can see the progression right now on the screen. I wrote it down in C. So it starts on F on the 4 chord, then it's F sharp diminished to C. So let's start there because a lot of people already have some trouble there. And of course you could just play a diminished arpeggio, but like I said, I like to convert everything to a dominant chord. Now this chord can be converted to 4 different dominant chords, right? Because F sharp diminished is just the upper structure, or the upper structure of D7, for instance, right? So if I have D7, if I would think D7, so 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 7, but I'm playing it now from here, from the F sharp. And then if I go 1 minor third higher, I have a flat 9, but that's actually F sharp diminished. Right, so F sharp diminished is just the upper structure for D7. So if I think D7, I have the option to still play an F sharp diminished arpeggio because it's just something that I would play on D7, but I could also just play some D7 line. For instance, I could play a D7 arpeggio, right? So let's try that. Let's just play the backing track, and I'm gonna play F major 7 up, and then D7 down, resolved to a note of C. Works perfect. Now the funny thing is, if I would play a diminished arpeggio up like this, but now I play a D in front of it, so that's a good sound. You start with the note that's not in the diminished chord, and then you play a diminished arpeggio right after it. Sounds really nice. Okay, now because a diminished arpeggio is a stacked minor thirds, there's only 3 different diminished chords. Because F sharp diminished is the same as an A diminished, is the same as a C diminished, the same as an E flat diminished. So if you think about that, then a G diminished chord is the same as a B flat, a C sharp, and an E diminished, and a G sharp diminished chord is the same as B, D, and F. And then the next one would be A diminished, but that is the same as C, E flat, and F sharp again. So there's only 3 diminished chords. So there's also, maybe you don't get this immediately, but you could find the information online. But because of that, there is also 4 different dominant chords we could substitute for this diminished chord. So another one we could substitute is a minor third up from D7 would be F7. And again, F7, if I have an A diminished here, and I play an F before it, that's just F7, and then I continue and I have a diminished arpeggio. So I could do the same thing. I could play, let's say, F major 7 up, and I play F7 down, and resolve to C. Let's try that. Sounds great. Let's try again with another F7 line. So I played, right, it's really F7. Now, we could do the same thing again. We could play it ascending, so start on F and then play a diminished arpeggio right after it. So we first did D7, let's do it here. Now we do F7. And then of course we're playing just this F sharp diminished or A diminished, but we're playing an F right before it. Sounds really nice. Okay, so the next dominant chord would be a third up, a minor third up from F7, A flat 7. So let's do the same thing. Let's play some F triad, and then on F sharp diminished, I'm just gonna play A flat 7. Resolve it to C. So this is an E, the third of C. Works perfectly. Let's do another A flat line. And let's do the same thing. Let's play A flat note and then diminished arpeggio up. Or the higher one. Great. And the last one, maybe my favorite one, is B7. So we can play B7. Let's try that. Beautiful. Or let's try this one. Beautiful. And then the same thing, we can play, start with a B and then play diminished up. Let's play one from the E string. Works great. So one thing you could do is start really early with one of those dominant chords. So to show this, I'm gonna not even play F. I'm just gonna wait until the F chord is being played and then start in the middle of that F bar, start with my B7 arpeggio up. And that creates a very rich color. F. Let's try with A flat. Let's try it with D7. Let's try it with F7. Great sound. Another thing you could do is play B7 altered. And you can use any of the altered devices you know, like C minor melodic scale or E minor harmonic. Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna play some B7 altered on top of the F sharp diminished so you can hear what it sounds like, and I'll do it several times. So I'll let the progression loop. again. So that's how I usually deal with that diminished chord. I convert to a dominant chord and mostly probably B7. So I have the option of playing a B7 kind of lick, just a B7 arpeggio, or play that ascending lick with a diminished arpeggio starting with a B, or I could play B7 altered. It all works great. Now let's go to another form of Christophe progression where the second chord is not F sharp diminished, but it is F minor or F minor 6. So I'm going to record it on my looper and I'll be back. So now I have the progression with F minor and then C, and the rest is the same. And now of course I would be playing an F minor 6. You could just play an F minor 6 arpeggio. Right, though, let's play that first. Works great, especially going from that A to that A flat. But the F minor gives me lots of options. So I actually don't have to simplify here, right? Because I have major and minor chords and dominant chords, but I could use many other options. One of the options would be to play B flat 7, because F minor and B flat 7 is the same chord. The only thing, it gives me access to that B flat, so I could play lines like... Let's try that. Works great. Or I could even play something from the B flat bebop scale. Resolve to C, of course. And then again, I'm not gonna play F. I'm just gonna start really early with the B flat 7 sound. Great sounds. One more time, maybe another lick. Another thing is I could play F minor 7, of course. F minor 7 fits over F minor 6 fine. So, and if I think F minor 7, I usually think A flat major 7. So I would play something like... Let's try that. So in the last example, I played F a little bit over the bar, and then I played a quick A flat major 7. Another thing I could do is play E7 altered, because E7 is of course the tritone of B flat 7. So I could play some... Let's try that. So the last time I played, which is basically just F minor, but that is something I would play over E7 altered, because F minor and E7 altered are for me the same thing. So we played F minor 6, B flat 7, F minor 7, E7 altered. What else? What else could I play? Oh yeah, here's a surprising thing. F minor 6 is also a substitution for me for G7 altered. Because if I play F minor with a G in the bass, it's basically G7 flat 9 sus, right? Because if I would turn the C into a B, it's G7 flat 9. But now with the C, it's G7 sus flat 9. So I could actually just play my G7 altered lines, and now I'm just getting F, G7 altered to C, and because F is the same as D minor, now we have just a 2-5-1 in C, in which I have to alter the G7. So then I can just play any 2-5-1 lick that has a altered sound. For instance, let's try that. Another one. So the funny thing is that actually now I'm getting 2-2-5-1s in a row, right? So it's the F and the F minor C is just becoming D minor G7 altered to C. Then I have this A7, which I can play or not play. I can play C if I want to. And then I have another 2-5. So to prove that, I'm just going to play the same exact lick 2 times in a row. And now you can hear that even though I'm playing the same thing, because the chords underneath it are a little bit different, it creates a different color. Of course, if I do it like that, that doesn't sound like an interesting thing to do, but just to show you that you could just be playing 2-2-5-1s. Okay, so now I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Because in the end, it doesn't really matter what the rhythm guitar is doing. If he's playing F sharp diminished or F minor 6, I could be playing any of the options we're discussing now. So even if the rhythm guitar is playing F minor 6, I could be playing B7. Of course, that won't sound. But because I'm playing a continuous line resolving to C, and you'll hear that, and the rhythm guitar is doing that too, it works. It creates some tension, but the tension can be nice. So to prove it, or to show you, I'm gonna play 2 rounds. The first time I'm gonna play F minor 6, and the second time I'm gonna play B7. Just gonna play. And you'll hear that it sounds. Right, because it's just a strong sound and it resolves very clearly to C. So the only thing you need to be able to do is really resolve to the C chord. And if you're able to do that, you can play any of these sounds. And the other way around too. So when they're playing a diminished chord, you could be playing F minor 6 or G7 altered. So the easiest thing to do would be to play 2-2-5-1s with a G7 altered. So that's how you solve Christophe changes. Now let's look at an example of this inside a song that you would never think would have it, Stella by Starlight. Okay, I just recorded part of the chords of Stella by Starlight. I started, you can see the chart, I start F minor 7, B flat 7, and then E flats, and then A flats, and then it goes to B flat, and then it goes to D minor, but I made a loop, B flat 2 bars, and then we go back to the beginning, F minor 7, B flat 7. So that A flat 7 actually is the same chord as the one we just saw in the Christophe changes. It's except now it is not E flat minor, which would be the same because we were in C then, we're now in B flat. But now they wrote down A flat 7, which basically is the same thing. Sometimes they call it the backdoor dominant. It's just a substitute for the 4 minor chord, for the E flat minor. So let's just go run through the options. So the first thing I could play, of course, is A flat 7. So I would play something like E flat, A flat 7. Alright, so we come from to E flat, A flat 7. I'm just gonna play it with the backing track and I'll try to play a very clear A flat 7. So I'll play something like or something like that. Alright, that obviously work. A flat. Now I was playing even A flat with a flat 9, and that's something that a normal jazz player wouldn't do. But in gypsy jazz, we play diminished on every dominant, and it, as I said in the last video, diminished in itself is such a strong structure with all the minor thirds that it really doesn't matter if I play a flat 9 on this A flat. So A flat works. Then the second thing would be to play E flat minor 6, which is the same thing, of course. But I'll try to play a real E flat kind of lick, maybe something like, or it's also A flat, but let's just do it. Works great. Next option would be to play E flat minor 7. So let's do that. Works. And then next option would be F7. Just play F7 altered, of course. So we get this sound with a sharp 9. Let's try it. Works great, and now it's just a 2-5. I was even playing C minor 7, which of course is very weird to play over A flat 7, but because I resolve it to F7 altered and resolve it to B flat, it all works. So basically, it's also a 2-5, and that goes a little bit with the idea that everything in the end is a 5-1, or you could convert it to a 5-1. I know that that might seem to make the music kind of detract from the harmonic beauty of the music, but it doesn't, because you still have all the options to play other colors. But for me, if I say F7 altered, that's a heuristic. It's kind of a just to remind me of all the possible colors. It doesn't mean that I always have to play F7 altered. When I see F7 altered, I would also play E flat minor. I would play A flat 7. I would do all those other things as well. So converting it or simplifying the changes for me is just opening up the options instead of diminishing them. Okay, so then the next or the last option would be to play D7 altered. And of course D7 altered is the tritone for A flat 7. And one way you could approach it is to, in your head, play D7 altered to G minor. Because G minor is the same as B flat. Whereas if you land on a G, you will land on a 6, which might sound unusual, but it works. So to make a demonstration, I'm thinking D7 altered to G minor on the A flat 7 to B flat. So in the end, I was kind of dangerous because I played, which is G minor melodic, which is not D altered, or it is kind of D altered, but it's not the E flat minor melodic scale, which is what I should be playing. But because the resolution is so strong, and if you continue the line, you can still, I don't want to say get away with it. It's just a certain color. If you know how to apply it, you could apply it. So you just realize, okay, D7 altered would be the farthest away. If I would play D7 altered to G minor and I would be playing G minor harmonic, that would be the farthest away from the A flat 7 sound, but it's still a nice color. Yeah. Now there are many songs which have this backdoor dominance, and you can, on every one of those songs, you could apply this. And if you look around, you'll find there are many more songs than you think have it. Maybe an example would be There Will Never Be Another You, for example, has it. Okay, let's go to the chord progression of Night and Day. And I'm talking about the part, so I'm going to play it in C. I'm talking about the part where it goes F sharp half diminished, to F minor, to E minor, to E flat diminished, and then a 2-5, 1 to C. Okay, I'll record it on the backing track. I'll be right back. So this progression in Night and Day has tripped up many people, and they are struggling with it, and they don't know what to do, and they're playing a kind of motif like grammatically down, and they don't feel free. But if you think about what we talked about before, about the 4 minor and the diminished chord, you can see that this progression is a combination of the two. All right, so let's start with that half diminished chord. That half diminished chord doesn't exist for me. It's half diminished is just a version of a minor 6 chord, and so it's A minor 6 or it's D7. Those are the same, right? A minor 6, A minor 7, D7 are the same. So let's look at the simplification. You can see that I changed the F sharp half diminished for a D7. Then the next chord is F minor. That is a 4 minor chord. So I changed that for a G7 altered. I could have changed it for a B flat 7 or a E7 altered. Right? It's the same things we already talked about. But I chose G7 altered. Why? Because before I have D7. Now I have D7 to G7. That is a progression that you play all the time. So I can basically play 2 diminished chord there. I can play. I wouldn't do that, or I could play something like, right? It's very easy. Or so I'm playing A minor 6, diminished. Now the next part, we get this E minor 7. That's the third, the 3 chord. 3 is the same as 1. It's one of those weak tonics. So I just made it C6. Or C major 7. You could play C major 7. It's probably more appropriate because the E minor 7. But C6 works too. It's great. So C6, then we get E flat diminished. Well, that is the same as F sharp diminished, right? Because it's E flat diminished and F sharp diminished are the same chord, so I can make the same substitutions. So I could play B7, A flat 7, F7, or D7 again. So I put D7 just to make it easy. And then it's a 2-5, and I get rid of the 2, so it's D7. So what do we get? D7, G7 to C, and again D7, and then a G7 for 2 bars to C. Super easy. So to make this really obvious, I'm gonna play the same thing. I'm gonna play, and then G7, C, and then D7, and I have to play a very slow lick. But you hear that it works. So let's first listen to progression to get it in our heads. And I'll play the theme very easy way. So the theme goes. The backing track starts there on the C, and then this. So listen. Right? So that's the theme. So now I'm gonna play those 2 licks. More time. And let's play up and down arpeggio. So I'm gonna play D7. So A minor 6, F diminished, or B diminished, or D diminished, C, and then again. Okay, now free. So I was trying out all kinds of stuff. So in the end, for instance, I played E flat minor on the F sharp half diminished. It's kind of weird, but what I was thinking was D7 altered, and then it's E7 flat minor. So it's outside sound, but it's not really outside because it is going somewhere. I play E flat minor. I think I did some G7 altered. And then I played on the E flat diminished, I played A flat 7. It's possible. So now let's, just for fun, because this is a good way to do it, right? Just for fun, let's play B7 on the spot where it says now D7. Both times well, the first time, because the F sharp half diminished, B7 would still work. I think might not be the best sound. Let's keep that D7. But the second one, where it used to be E flat diminished, I'm gonna play B7. So this sound to G7. B7 on the first chord doesn't really work, but it works on the second one. Let's find one for the first. So it's A minor. Let's play A minor 7. I'm playing a C major 7 arpeggio. I like that. Of course, it has a G, which might be a weird note to play on F sharp half diminished. Not really though, it's still in the key. And then, so we're gonna play A minor 7 and play F minor 6. And then C. And I'll play maybe A flat 7, G7. And on the G7 I could maybe play, let's just play G7 altered. Let's do it again. It's actually super easy to play because I can use all my substitutions I would use on D7, G7, and C, which are many. And of course you can play a blues on the whole thing, which I did. So I hope this video was not too confusing. This is something you gotta get your head around, but also something that you just gotta work out. Just take a tune and see if you can substitute all the chords that you find by either a minor, major, or a dominant. And when the chord is diminished, you have to think a little bit. When the chord is 4 minor, you know now the substitutions. I'll make more of these videos and we'll work on more songs. Next time I will do a complete song. Maybe I'll do a song like, I could do Stella by Starlight, or I could do All the Things You Are. Songs that are considered to be tricky, and I'll show you how easy it is actually to play those songs after you simplify them, and then use substitutions to make it more difficult again. Until then, see you. Bye.